president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you shoot them down?
They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
All right, so he doesn't want to comment on that?
Yeah, that was actually a good follow-up from that reporter.
That's a fantastic follow-up.
Hey, you know, you get these intelligence briefings now. You want to share anything with us? No, I'm not going to comment on that.
Exactly right. Now, when he says a couple of things like, we know where the drones took off, we know what they are, etc., but they don't want to know, is he speaking from an informed position or not? Remember, as the president-elect of the United States, you get the full presidential daily briefing, the same one that Joe Biden would receive in the Oval Office. Could he be making stuff up? Maybe. I don't think so.
He's probably just bullshitting.
On this one, I mean, he's been specific about a couple of things. So recall the Ukraine casualty numbers. The Ukrainians freaked out about that, by the way, because he was like, 1 million people have died. Meanwhile, Zelensky's like, oh, actually, it's 75,000 people have been killed. It's like maybe at a zero, and it's somewhere near the accurate number. So he's talked about that. He's talked previously about some previous military things and others. So I actually think this one might be with the
then he's part of the
figures.
cover-up. If he knows the answer and he's just not telling us because he got an intelligence briefing, then he's now
he's
part
not
of
the president yet, so maybe he doesn't have the authority.
I know he really holds to those rules and norms of the presidential transition.
I have no idea. All right, all I'm saying is
what I will say for
I will take it seriously because he is the incoming president.
He is very skilled at jumping on a public sentiment. And that's what I see in this. I kind of doubt that he got any special information in his briefing. Like I said, if he did, then okay, come out with it. Tell us what's going on. I think he's just sees this as a moment, sees this as a thing that's going on, and as he is very skilled at doing, sort of jumps on it and positions himself in an advantageous way. That's all I see going on here.
Look, it definitely could be true. In fact, I kind of hope that's true because then he can get into office and he can tell us what's actually happening with it. But regardless, what we do know is that in New Jersey, people there are just fed up. The governor is fed up, the state and local officials, in terms of all the lies that are being propagated by the federal government. Just yesterday, we got another update on the lies from the White House, from the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has said there was absolutely nothing to worry about. Don't worry. And actually, Chris Christie, the former New Jersey governor, so clearly somebody at least with some authority, spoke out against this. Let's take a listen.
You're a New Jersey resident. Have you seen any drones?
Yeah. 2 mornings ago, over my house at 6:15 in the morning. Saw them myself, so did my wife. And so, yeah, they're there. And I've been traveling around New Jersey as I normally do all week. And I can't tell you the number of people who have come up to me concerned about it. And that's
But is this a mass hysteria of some sort?
Well, here's why, George. Because of answers like the secretary just gave. They're not answering the questions.
Well, he said they're monitoring it. They haven't seen any unusual activity, and they need more authority.
Let me tell you something. I agree that they need more authority, but to say this is not unusual activity, it's just wrong. I lived in New Jersey my whole life. This is the first time that I've noticed drones over my house, and I was in a restaurant in Monmouth County on Friday night. Had people at the bar coming up to me and saying, "Governor Murphy won't tell me anything. The president won't tell me anything. Do you know?" Like, well, I don't know, but I will tell you this. I think this is what happens in our society now, George, because we're used to having things so rapidly. If you don't fill that vacuum, then all the conspiracy theories get filled in there. So you've got people like Congressman Jeff Van Drew saying there's an Iranian mothership off the coast of New Jersey.
True.
Absolutely not true.
There you go. Then he's actually said it well, which is that in our current environment where you have videos going around, where you have multiple news reports, we're going to talk to Rich just here in a little bit. He himself witnessed many of the drones. By the way, the drone situation has now gone across the entire country, actually even global. Germany is now reporting drone problems. We talked about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which was just closed yesterday. The audio of that confirms their own freak out for what's happening. There have been multiple other incidents across the the entire East Coast. And yet, despite this, the NSC spokesperson, John Kirby, let's put this up there on the screen, he says and continues to say, oh, all of these, just don't worry about it. It's commercial drones, it's hobby drones, it's law enforcement drones, it's planes, it's helicopters, it's stars that people have mistook for drones. Now, look, is it true that some people have mistaken these? Absolutely. You know, you had, what was it, the governor, Larry Hogan, is that his name, who mistook the stars for drones. It's like, okay, not spending a lot of time stargazing. It's planes or it's hobbyist drones. But, you know, whenever it comes to the hobby, the commercial drones and others, it doesn't make any sense for them to be flying at night, specifically because that's not how, first of all, they're not allowed to, but also there's some various different ways to enforce that. In terms of the law enforcement drones, well, maybe, but you know, if you listen to the law enforcement people themselves, they say every time our drones get close to one of these so-called drones, those drones are able to go away. They don't have a heat signature. They're able to, quote unquote, go dark, as the governor said. Planes, I mean, as I said, literally yesterday, it's very easy to say what is a plane and what's not that's up in the sky. Any one of us can open a FlightAware or any of these other apps and look up immediately and identify what a plane is, its tail, its file, etc., for its route, where it's going. So their explanations just continue to not make any sense, and they continue to obfuscate whatever the truth is. But the more that this continues, the more full-blown cover-up that it continues to look like.
Yeah, I mean, they continue to be very evasive in their answers. Mm-hmm. And obviously the sightings continue and the questions remain. So one thing that I had seen is what New Jersey just like loosened up their policy allowing civilian drone usage.
Yes.
That's one sort of innocuous explanation that's been put out there.
Yes.
So, I mean, I do think that's part of what's going on is some of the things that people are saying are like commercial aircraft and civilian drones, and they just now are paying attention, and this drone usage rule has been loosened up, whatever. But there have been enough people with some credibility and knowledge that have seen things that I'm convinced that's not the whole of what's going on.
Exactly.
So with that being said, let's speak to one of those people who I consider to be quite credible. Rich McHugh is an incredible reporter and journalist, as I said before, and you know, has demonstrated a lot of, I would say, courage in the field of journalism, has taken on stories even when it was uncomfortable and inconvenient in mainstream press. He's now a reporter for News Nation. He's been on the ground in New Jersey reporting out. He had his own sighting of, dozens of these drones while he was there reporting. He spoke to local law enforcement as well. We played some of this on the show yesterday, so let's go ahead and get to that.
Joining us now is investigative correspondent for News Nation, Rich McHugh, highly respected journalist. It's great to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Great to see you both. Good to be back here with you.
Absolutely. All right, so Rich, you did a report that we played on our show yesterday where you were credulous of these drone sightings. You said yourself that you were skeptical going in. Why don't you just break down a little bit of what you saw and some of the further reporting that you've done since you did that segment?
Sure. So I was absolutely skeptical before starting on this. Like I kind of didn't even pay attention to this story because I thought it was just a bunch of wingnuts in New Jersey with drones stirring up something. Then I started looking at it, and I interviewed the sheriff of Ocean County and his drone team and talked to them about what they saw, talked to the drone operator about what he saw when they put a drone up. You know, he was saying things like, this drone that we encountered was much bigger than ours, and they have an industrial grade drone. And it didn't have a heat signature. I didn't know what a heat signature was, but apparently that's a thing. So like they can track drones with heat. And so he was emphatic that this thing did not have the normal it was not giving off the normal heat. So there's all these things. Then there's all these sightings in the communities, Monmouth County, Ocean County. Residents I talked to were saying, look, we're seeing these things overhead, like no doubt about it. One resident told me he looked up and he saw something like 80 to 100 feet above his house. He said it was so close. He said, I screamed at it, get the heck out of here. There's mayors all throughout this state that are saying, look, pay attention to us. They just had a meeting yesterday with the White House saying, look, enough of the gaslighting. So from my own personal perspective, normally you don't see stuff around here. Last Thursday night, after I'd met with the Ocean County sheriffs, my cameraman and we got reports that there was all sorts of sightings in Monmouth County. So we raced to Monmouth County. There was sightings in Red Bank, like these look like these things were low flying over the city, and over east by Earl and in Middletown. And so we started seeing this, and I was like, I'm used to flight patterns. I'm used to, like, I know